So today we're going to cover the top 3 supplements that can help reduce aging through glycation in the body. And if you're concerned about aging with your skin, I'm going to throw in a bonus supplement that can really be beneficial in that area. And we're going to go over some studies here. It's okay if I'm standing in front of these. I'll make them big when you need to see them. But when we're looking at glycation, it has the ability to create a wide variety of troubles in the body, including like joint stiffness and even like cardiovascular issues and cognitive issues and even like neuropathy type issues. We talked in our neuropathy video about how this glycation has the ability to really break down these myelin sheaths that are supposed to cover and protect these nerves. And I've shared studies in other videos that lead us to believe that a lot of this dementia, Alzheimer's type issues have a lot to do with this overglycation in the brain. It's almost like we're caramelizing our brain so it can't function correctly. So if you're dealing with some type of issues where you feel like you're aging too quickly, or maybe you can't remember important things like what was the name of that guy in the Dukes of Hazzard? There was Daisy and Luke, and like what was his brother's name? If you like just feel like things are falling out of your head like that, there could be some glycation issues going on. So we'll look at this study here on glycation damage, a possible hub for major pathophysiological disorders and aging. And they help us understand that this glycation is just sugar bonding to proteins or fats or even DNA. And when it bonds like this, it has the ability to create like stiffness or even an inability for organs and such to function correctly. So we want to understand that when we're looking at glycation, we're looking at what's called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs like all the cool kids call it. And we want to understand that they can be endogenous, meaning that the body can make these inside the body according to what we're eating, and a lot of times it has to do with how we're cooking. Or maybe it has to do with just a high level of sugar already available in the body, so when proteins and fats come in, they bond with these sugars and create these AGEs that really have the ability to magnify this glycation issue. Or they can be exogenous, where they're happening outside the body, usually by the way that we're cooking and we're creating these AGEs into the food before we even bring those into the body. So we want to look at some steps with supplements that we can use to reduce the effects of these problems. So let's start off with benfotiamine, and we'll look at this study on oral benfotiamine plus alpha-lipoic acid normalizes complication-causing pathways in type 1 diabetes. And they found that when they were supplementing with benfotiamine, that even without altering glucose control in any way, that they were able to reduce the AGEs in the body. And so this showed us that this benfotiamine has the ability to block the body from forming these AGEs. And then we look at this study here on benfotiamine prevents macro and microvascular endothelial dysfunction and oxidative stress following a meal rich in AGEs. So now they were doing a study where they tried to cook foods in a way that really magnify these AGEs and allow these type 2 diabetics to consume them. And while they were using the benfotiamine, it didn't have the effect that it would have if they were not using it. So it shows that the benfotiamine has the ability to reduce the AGEs that are coming into the system by the way that we cook, and also reduce the AGEs that are formed in the body. So benfotiamine is a synthetic form of B1 or thiamine. And they made this because they wanted it to be fat soluble so that it was easier to get into the system. So I like thiamine for some things, but for this particular purpose, for restricting AGEs, the benfotiamine seems to work much, much better. And this has been the most drastic improvement that I've seen with clients when we're trying to reduce AGEs, is when we're using this benfotiamine. And I'm not going to give you any dosages. Remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving anybody medical advice. I'm basically a professional stand-up comic turned nutrition author, because when I lost my voice for 8 years and 23 different doctors couldn't figure that out, I had to dig for my own answers. So now for 20 years, I've been teaching health professionals in more than 40 countries how to help their clients fix the actual underlying causes of problems instead of just covering up the symptoms. But since you'll have access to these studies and the links below this video, you can go through those and figure out the right questions to ask your doctor. And a lot of these studies showed that people were using between 300 to 900 milligrams of benfotiamine spread out throughout the day. And I remember one of them mentioned, well, they kind of used, 900 initially to kind of bring things down a little bit and then move to a 600 milligram per day dosage. So that seemed to be effective for some people. And when I use any type of singular B vitamin with a client, I also like to use a B complex to make sure that the body has all the cofactors that it needs to allow that B vitamin to work correctly. But you really probably only need to take a B complex like once a week just to make sure the body's getting what it needs, and then you can use a B vitamin more effectively. So the next supplement is alpha-lipoic acid, and we'll look at this study here on alpha-lipoic acid treatment. Reduces the levels of advanced N-glycation products in type 2 diabetes patients with neuropathy. And they went on to say that according to our results, ALA decreases AGEs, which may contribute to the clinically well-known beneficial effect in diabetic neuropathy and improvement of endothelial function. So they found that a lot of these patients that are dealing with this neuropathy, which we've explained in other videos, really seems to be a major factor about these AGEs, too much sugar being in the system, glycating all of these nerve endings and coverings. And so they found that the alpha-lipoic acid really brought this down quite a bit. And that study showed that 600 milligrams greatly reduced the level of AGEs over a 6-month period. And with curcumin, it was a UCLA study that showed that people taking a bioavailable form of curcumin twice a day over an 18-month period showed a 28% increase in memory function, and also showed a reduction in these like beta amyloid plaques that a lot of people are so concerned about with dementia and such, when they did the brain scans with the individuals in this study. So when we're looking at curcumin and we're talking about a bioavailable form of curcumin, when you look at these in the ingredients, you're usually going to see it say something like, greater than 95% curcuminoid. So when we use curcumin to kind of deal with like some type of digestive overgrowth, like a candida type situation, we don't want to use a bioavailable form. We want more of it to stay in the digestive tract and help take care of those biofilms and wipe out those bad guys. But for this purpose, we really want to use a bioavailable form. And a lot of times you'll see like black pepper fruit extract in there, and that seems to help the body absorb that a little bit better. I'm not going to give you any particular, brand or anything. You'll have to do your research. But this study showed a lot of improvement using curcumin as well. Now, for skin issues, we'll look at this study on the ingestion of collagen peptides. And they found that when these people used a specific type of collagen peptide, that it greatly reduced the AGEs that were forming in that skin structure. And I've talked in other videos about studies that show they shine these special kind of lights on the skin, and they can show the AGEs that are creating this glycation damage to that cellular structure of the skin, and that can really magnify a lot of aging. So I found a couple of different collagens. It's not just any collagen that will do this. Verisol was a type of collagen that's found in some brands of collagen, and I found one, I think it was called Brescia, something or other. I'll put links to the ones that I found in the description below, so you can just check them out, look at those ingredients. I'm not telling you need to use those. I don't care if you use those. Great Lakes also has a one. I've used Great Lakes for a long time for their collagen, but they have a specific one that's geared towards skin, and these collagen peptides are closer to the ones used in this study that I'm sharing with you. And of course, both of the ones that I found are kind of marketed as, it's going to make you not age as much. It's going to make you look younger. But this is why. This is why they're saying this, because it has the ability to remove these AGEs that are forming in the skin and magnifying these aging issues. Now keep in mind that the main driver of these AGE issues is either too much sugar in the system, too much sugar coming into the system, or the way that you're preparing foods. So if a person's eating toaster pastries and candy bars all day, then alpha-lipoic acid is not going to overpower that. So if you're eating like an 8th grader, you might have to put your big boy pants on and start eating like a grown-up to really create improvement with these supplements. So we'll give you more information in the description below on other videos where we've covered this more. Our video on 3 cooking habits that need to be changed is really important. You're absolutely using some of these cooking methods, very likely, that can really magnify this problem. But if you want to understand some changes in food combining that can really make a huge difference, you can jump over right now and check out our video on food combinations that are destroying your brain. I can't wait to hear about your results.